Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us in our Redesigning MOC session. Our goal this afternoon is to do something of an update on changes that have been going on at the American Board of Internal Medicine in our Maintenance of Certification program over really the course of the last year or two. But many of you know that we made an announcement this morning about a change that is in the future, and we'll be talking about that as well. A critical part of this, you can't redesign stuff, the three of us sitting here talking or a bunch of directors talking in Philadelphia. Redesign is really requiring conversations with lots of people. So we're glad you're here, and we invite people to come to the microphones during the Q&A and tell us what you think we need to hear.
Well, good afternoon, and let me add my thanks for you joining us. And what I wanted to do is kind of set the stage for what's going to follow. And I think the point here is for you all to understand that the board hears you. And we know that there is a lot of frustration, anger, concern, and many of you have questions. There might have been a time when the perception was that it was falling on deaf ears, but I can assure you that it certainly isn't. And I think you'll see that as we continue with the presentation. Coming out of all that feedback was a decision to embark on what we're calling community-centered design. That engagement effort's been very extensive. It started last year and it continues. The point being that we want feedback as we're in the production phase of our various products and programs, and give folks more input than they've ever had before into what those things look like. And then in a cycle also circle back and ask whether we've gotten it right, whether this is meeting the shared vision that we all have, and if not, then doing something about it. So what have we heard from all of this dialogue? Make the examinations more relevant. I mean, I'm a practicing general internist, and there are certain things that I see and do, and certain things I don't see but should know about, and then there are things that I don't see and don't need to know about and can always look up. And trying to sort that out into a format that allows the examination to reflect whether I know what I need to know to do my job. Making the MOC experience one that makes you feel good. I mean, we all feel good when we pass our initial certification exam. Can we do the same? Can we change MOC in a way that will give us that same feeling when we're done, as opposed to being happy that we're done? And also make it a lot less confusing to complete. And the board certainly heard the outcry regarding the cost and trying to reduce the cost of the MOC program. And certainly that would be something that the board would do if it can do it. But on the other hand, we also have to try to make it valuable so that you feel like you're getting your money's worth at whatever price you're paying.
Thank you very much. Many of you may have heard about the Assessment 2020 report. We released it this past summer. There were three broad recommendations that came forward from the report in the executive summary. And it's the first recommendation: replace the 10-year exam with more frequent, less burdensome assessments that in the community design work we've been doing got the most interest and the most energy. People said that's the thing we really want you to be doing. Synthesizing that was the thing that led us to the announcement that we made this morning and that I want to describe a little bit in the next couple of minutes. The basic thing that we announced this morning is in an effort to provide options and alternatives to the once every 10-year secure exam, beginning in January of 2018, ABIM will offer two assessment options. One option will continue to be the long form assessment taken every 10 years. It'll look different in a variety of ways from what we're doing now, but it will fundamentally be a once every 10-year comprehensive exam. But the new track is more frequent assessment with fewer questions completed outside a testing center. And the idea behind that second piece, that more frequent option, is that they would be more frequent. Interval, we need to be discussing with all of you and with folks about what feels right. Each of them would have fewer questions, and we'd be introducing some version of remote proctoring, which is our term for ability to verify that the person doing the assessment is the person you think it is, and that the resources they're accessing are the same resources anybody taking it is accessing. And the idea behind this track is that physicians who perform above an expected level of performance will test out of the longer form 10-year assessment. So they could stay on this track pretty much indefinitely, and as long as they are maintaining a level of engagement and performance in continuing acquisition of knowledge and skills. There will still be the 10-year assessment option, and in our All Diplomates survey, what we found was that just about 20% of current diplomates actually prefer that option and say they want to continue. And when people have choice, some people may find that doing it that way makes more sense for them, some people may not. But as I said, there'll be a variety of enhancements and improvements that have been requested by physicians. So we need physician feedback on all of this, and some of you may know we announced earlier a pilot study of using, we call it an open book assessment, but it's basically going to the Pearson VUE Testing Center and having access to UpToDate as a resource. No commitment to UpToDate, it was more that they were willing to do the work to put it on the platform that we use to administer the exam. If we do scale this, the expectation is that we would make a path for any educational electronic resource to be available. So what's the timing? It's going to be available for some subspecialties, and we believe internal medicine initially in January of 2018. We're not going to be able to do it across all of our disciplines, and in fact we think that it's better to do this incrementally, both because it gives people longer notice of changes and because we can learn as we go along for the best way to do it. So we do expect to roll it out to additional subspecialties and ultimately the remaining subspecialties over the remaining program cycles. But if your certificate expires before the new option is introduced, you still need, if you want to maintain certification and be reported as certified, you still need to pass the current long form exams. And these exams will continue to be based on the updated blueprint. And folks who do take the exam in 2016 or 2017 and pass it will then have 10 years to decide whether what they want to do is take another long form exam or they want to enroll in the new option of the shorter, more frequent assessments. So that will be a choice that individual physicians get to make who are taking the exam in 2016 and 2017.
And I want to give you a little bit of background and better understanding of what we did and how we're moving at this point in time. So indeed, we have expanded the types of CME that are credited in MOC. In addition, though, we've recently formed a partnership between ABIM and the ACCME. The partnership was intended to expand both the number of activities that could be recognized, but also the advantage is that unlike regular CME, where you or I need to get our certificate and collect it and then send it off to get credit, under this new partnership, the program that offers the activity automatically notifies ACCME, and you're credited both there and for MOC. So what we do is take a step out of the process for you. What we heard again from many internists recertifying was that the exam had a lot of questions that were not relevant to their practice. So what we did was we brought together groups of practicing internists from across the country, and we asked them, what do you see? What are the kinds of things that are that you take care of in your practice? What's important? And what are also the things that you don't see very often but you think are really important to know about? And with that information, we then took it upon ourselves to revise the blueprint. The actual exam then is weighted towards those conditions and the aspects of those conditions which are deemed most important. But we will have this ongoing process to keep the blueprint refreshed and reflective of what interns are doing. One of the things we heard was people were concerned about the cost. And so we felt one of the ways to help everyone understand the cost would be to be more transparent. And so as a result, on our website, our financial statements, our audited financial statements, and our 990s are available. With where we are now, and we've made lots and lots of changes, what shouldn't change, what isn't changing? What we heard from people was that there's a great deal of pride in being board certified. As a result, that credential means something, and it means that we have accomplished something in initial certification, and we continue to demonstrate those skills and that knowledge as we maintain our certification.
Thanks, Pat. Just 2 more quick slides. If you need more information, there's a number of URLs there where you can get information. If you go to your status page at ABIM, which you log in to do that, you'll get information specifically about what you need to do when. But just a quick summary of what we told you. Until January 18, though the tenure exam remains in place, it will have important differences. That revised blueprint that Pat described really does result in people seeing different kinds of questions. And starting in January of 2018, the alternate option will become available. And yeah, there are a lot of questions about that, but it's interesting, the more people we talk to, people say, well, I think it should be 1 year, or I think it should be 5 years, or I think it should be 2 years, or I think it should be modular. And the details do matter, and we want to be sure that as we move in that direction, that we're doing it firmly and well informed by you, by your colleagues, by societies about the directions that we move in here.